Now, U.S. stocks, they shook off their earlier losses to turn slightly higher on Monday, lifting the S&P 500 to a fresh intraday high. However, a series of mixed earnings reports and weaker than expected home sales data kept a limit on potential gains. Now, first on the U.S. economic front, existing home sales in June falling today 1.2% to an annual rate of 5.08 million. Still, the reading was the second highest level of sales since November 2009. Home builders, meanwhile, traded in the red following the report, with KB Home, Polt, and D.R. Horton all leading the real estate laggards. Meanwhile, European and Asian shares were higher, lifted by upbeat earnings and an electoral victory for Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And with gold surging to its highest level in nearly 1 year, piercing above a key resistance of $1,322 an ounce, as fears abated that the Federal Reserve will indeed curb monetary easing, and the euro again extending its gains against the U.S. dollar after Portugal's Prime Minister Pedro Passos Coelho pledged to stick to the country's bailout program following a 2-week political crisis. It looked to be quite the active finish on this, the first trading session of the week. Speaking of which, taking a look now to see how the Dow Jones has fared. The Dow is slightly higher, 1.88 points, to settle in relatively unchanged, 15,545.55. In a breakdown of today's major market movers, we first begin with Dow component McDonald's, which fell after the fast food giant posted earnings and revenue that disappointed Wall Street expectations. This time pulled further downwards due to weak sales in Europe and Asia. Toymaker Hasbro reported lower than expected quarterly earnings, citing a shift by young children to iPads and other electronic devices from traditional toys and action figures. And Halliburton gained after the oilfield services company topped earnings expectations and increased its share buyback program by $4.3 billion.